Can you hear the cries? A brutal war is being waged here between two bitter enemies. But if you listen carefully, you'll hear that both the shouts of the fighters and the cries of the wounded are spoken in the same language. They belong to the same nation. Jews are fighting Jews. This war broke out here in Jerusalem 2,000 years ago. It was the start of the Great Revolt against Rome, a revolt that ended with the total destruction of Jerusalem and the Holy Temple. Here, in the area between the lower city down there and the upper city above, a civil war is taking place. It is vicious and bloody. It all began when the Roman governor Gaius Florus sent his soldiers to seize the gold treasures from the Holy Temple. This was the peak of a series of acts of violence, murder, and looting led by Florus in Judea and Jerusalem. The Jews are no longer willing to accept this intolerable situation. With makeshift weapons, they ferociously attack the Roman soldiers and chase them away from the temple. The uprising spreads rapidly, and the Jews liberate the Temple Mount from Roman rule. They cancel the sacrificial ceremony for the emperor's welfare. There's no doubt about it. This is a revolt against Roman rule, and war is about to break out. During this time, the high priests, government officials, and wealthy people are terrified of the harsh response that the emperor will inflict upon the city. They do their best to calm things down. We're in mortal danger. Do you want to unsheath the Roman swords? This is suicide. But no one listens to them. The people hold the high priests, dignitaries, and wealthy citizens in contempt. They hate them. But why? What provoked this hatred? To get to the root of the cause, let's visit Jerusalem's upper city. This was the home of the elite, the city's wealthy residents, the families of the high priests and government officials. Here, a few meters below street level, in the Jewish quarter of Jerusalem, Professor Nachman Avigad uncovered a wealthy neighborhood of the priestly aristocracy from the end of the Second Temple period. It appears that economic prosperity made Jerusalem one of the richest cities in the world. Those that benefited most of all this wealth were, of course, the priests. This home, for example, was more than 600 square meters in size. It included a mosaic floor, colored paintings on the walls, and even a decorated ceiling. Here, in the huge living room, the priests received his guests and sat down to dine with them using tableware that was the height of Roman fashion. Some of these finds are very special, such as these beautiful, hand-carved stone items. These, together with the mikvahs that Avigad uncovered here, are distinguishing marks of the priests, who were meticulous in their observance of the laws of ritual purity. The ostentatious affluence infuriates the people. They feel that all this wealth has been accumulated by the priests at their expense. One of the finds is a stone weight inscribed with the word Kathros. Kathros was the name of a priestly family mentioned explicitly in the Talmud, and not favorably. The Kathros family, together with the priestly families of Bethius and Ben Piabi, capture key leadership positions. They take advantage of their status to rule the people through the use of force and even violence. The corruption became so entrenched that priestly families even bribed their way to the position of high priest, abandoning all moral scruples that take control of the temple treasury.
For they are high priests, their sons are treasurers, their son-in-laws are chamberlains, and their servants beat the people with cudgels.
The tension between the people and the priests intensifies. When one of the priests violates the instructions of the rabbis during Sukkot, the people cannot restrain themselves and they pelt him with etrogim. From their simple homes in the lower city, the residents of Jerusalem look upwards to the houses of the upper city with hostility and hatred. Now, we can understand why, when the riots against Florus broke out, the people are unwilling to accept the priests' attempts at persuasion. In their eyes, the leaders care only for themselves and are collaborating with the enemy. As the danger of war mounts, the priests, in desperation, call in the Roman army, a foreign army, to forcefully suppress their rebel brothers. The people react with tremendous fury. Hatred erupts in the streets in a wave of blood and fire. The beautiful homes of the rich priests and government officials go up in flames. A civil war rages in the streets of Jerusalem. Jews kill Jews, and blood flows through the streets.